I'm very happy to have you here. First session, I understand that some of you are still taking breakfast or in the traffic, like my friend that just joined us. This session is going to be about the Power BI integration with the Microsoft Information Protection. My name is Dennis. I'm a PM in Azure Information Protection. Actually there from the beginning of the product, evolving from Azure RMS to Azure Information Protection, and now in journey to Microsoft Information Protection. And Anton is my friend from Power BI.
Hello. So my name is Anton, and I'm a program manager on the Power BI team, working on data protection capabilities, together with Dennis and friends.
Then before I'm starting, I should tell you that I'm personally very, very excited about this integration, because this is the first biggest Microsoft product outside of Office Suite that adopting MIP and bringing data protection. Then we're starting our journey with all other Microsoft big products, and I'm happy that Power BI was the first one, because this is one of the biggest platforms that we own that enable data sharing and very sensitive data sharing. And that's why it was very important to us to go beyond Office and to start handling data information protection in other applications. And I assume that some of you already have seen this slide from other information protection sessions. Then data is exploding. We create data in tremendous rates, like few facts. In 2020, we are going to create 1.7 megabytes per second. Every person in the world is going to create a lot of data. Then just in 2018, we spent around 128 million years in 1 year of being online creating data. And it's enormous. And the last fact is 90% of data was created in the last 2 years. And it means that we need to try to protect data and to find our data as soon as we create it. And this is how the information protection, Microsoft Information Protection and governance try to help you do it. First of all, before you can protect and secure your data, you should know what's your data. And what's your data means, where is your data stored, where it's created, who creates it, and what do you actually have there? What's sensitive data for you? For some companies, it can be PII. For others, it can be some other regulation. Then every company has its own sensitive data. Then you should know what's your sensitive data, where it is, who creates it, because then you will be able to protect it. And protect it, it's not only encrypted, right? The encryption is the most solid but most intrusive way to protect the data. But protect it means label the data and make other systems be able to understand what's the label, like enable DLP systems, Microsoft DLP systems, and third parties to handle this data. Think about, we would love you to have everything from Microsoft Store, but if you use some other DLP and you create some data, you want this DLP to understand what's the sensitivity of this data. Then labeling data, it's already protecting your data. And then you can take it to the next step. You can apply content marking, add some watermarking, footers, headers to enable your users to participate in this journey on protecting of your data. You don't want to do this job on your own. It's not only your, as information protection administrators, job to protect the data. You want everybody in the company to participate in it. And then you need to surface it to your users and tell, this is a sensitive data. By the way, most of attacks happens because of accidental leaks. Most of your employees are good employees. They want to work in the right way. They don't want to harm company. But if they don't have tools and if they don't have an understanding what's the sensitivity of your data, they can just accidentally do something wrong. And this is what we're also trying to bring as a part of protection to all platforms, including Power BI. And the long journey of MIP was, we started with the MIP, Microsoft Information Protection, about 2 years ago, when we understood that we have a lot of different solutions from Microsoft for Office Information Protection, Windows Information Protection, and Azure Information Protection. We tried to unify all of them, and there were three things that we wanted to handle. First of all, we understood that every application should handle labels natively. It means we want the application itself to be aware of labels, not to try to build some add-ons, and we wanted everything to be built into the app. The second one was we wanted to use the one set of labels everywhere, in all apps, in Office, in Azure, and in any other place. And the third one, we wanted it to be everywhere. Then we're in pretty good shape right now. It took us 2 years, I know, takes some time, but with Office apps, my friends from Office announced this in this Ignite. You have manual labeling available built-in in all Office platforms, like in mobile, iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows. And actually, we also started a preview of automatic labeling in Office on Windows. In this week, we announced it, and you can use it already. And we're in pretty good shape with productivity apps. We're in great shape with SharePoint. Finally, we shipped integration with SharePoint, being able to reason over encrypted data. You can search for encrypted data, you can co-author in web apps, and the rich clients are coming. Then we are very good with the first two parts. The cloud services are covered by Microsoft Cloud App Security, and it's there from the first day of Microsoft Information Protection. Then we take care of not only of our cloud, we take care of Box, Dropbox, and other services through Microsoft Cloud App Security. On premises, we did great with the scanner, AIP scanner there already for 2 years, and just in September we shipped a public preview of scale-out scanner that works with unified labeling. And now you can manage AIP scanner in the same place as all other unified labeling platforms, and you can scale out. You can just spin off 50 VMs and start scanning all your on-prem data, distributing load across all these 50 VMs. Windows operating system. We shipped the first thing a year ago in RS5, integrating the WIP, Windows Information Protection, with labels to connect between them. And in this Ignite, my colleagues are going to announce Edge support for protected data. It means you can use Edge browser to open encrypted PDFs. It's great. You no longer need anything else. Just install the latest Edge, and it can consume and enforce protection on PDFs. But this session, we're going to talk about the Power Apps. And Power Apps, it's not just Power BI. It's Dynamics, it's others, but we started the journey from the best application, Power BI, and it's actually very exciting because they just announced it in June in their conference in Embass that they are going to integrate it with MIP, and here we are after 6 months. It's very surprising that we're there, right? Then we promised, and they delivered. I just helped him. Then let's talk about the Power BI. And before I'm handing over to Anton to tell you why it's important for Power BI admins, I assume that most of you here are information protection admins, right? Then why it's important to us? And Power BI is the platform that connects to two big things. It's connected to structured data, all your data sources, SQLs, data lakes, you know, all the big resources that have all your sensitive data there, and you are pretty sure that it's secured, right? Structured data generally more secure than unstructured data, the files that are flowing out and shared. And Power BI connects to these very secured sources and gets data from it and presents it to the users. Then Power BI itself handles the data pretty well. There is ACLs, and Anton will share a bit more about protection inside Power BI, but then Power BI is the gate to take data outside of these secured data sources. And then what happens? You secure the sources, you secure the Power BI dashboards, but then you take the files out, and the person that took the file out can do whatever he wants, right? Then this is the main problem that we identified before, and this is the problem that we wanted to handle at day one with Power BI integration. And this is why it's important to us, as information protection admins, to integrate Power BI with MIP. And now I would like to hear Anton's vision, why it's important for Power BI admins to take care of information protection.
Thank you, Dennis. So, as most of you are in information protection business, you really relate to the concerns about business users treating sensitive data and not being responsible with it. So Power BI is growing very fast with enterprises. We have really huge enterprise adoption, and most of our big customers have a dilemma between data protection and productivity. Some of them choose to disable export altogether, limit access to Power BI, and also limit which data they allow people to upload to Power BI. And what impacts dramatically is the productivity of their employees with data. Others choose to rely on their employees to follow the guidelines about how you treat sensitive data, but also it's sort of like a big leap of faith about people knowing the guidelines and following them and not doing irresponsible things. And with the information protection, we want to reduce this, to resolve this dilemma for our customers. We don't want them to compromise on data protection and productivity. So with what you're going to see now, you will see how simple it is now for Power BI creators and consumers to comply with data protection guidelines, apply sensitivity labels, and protect their content in Power BI.
Great. Thank you, Anton. Then what we are shipping now, and actually this is what's available to everybody since Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And on Saturday, every Power BI tenant can label data reports, data sets, dashboards on data flows. You can apply labels on these artifacts. And what's important to understand, it's the same labels you have in Office. Means it's the same labels you manage in Office Security and Compliance Center, it's the same label that your organization already leverage for files. Same labels are going to Power BI. And what happens there? Once you apply the label on this data source, the protection inside Power BI is handled by Power BI, because it's secured source like any other structured data. But when you export the file, you create a PowerPoint, PDF, or Excel exported from this data source, the label is applied, and if label has an encryption setting enabled on Security and Compliance Center, the file will be also encrypted with the same permissions. It means if you define that this dashboard is confidential and only specific people can access confidential, when you export the file and store it in some share, only people that were allowed to access confidential data through the label will be able to open this file. Means the label and the protection persists when you take data outside of Power BI. And if somebody is not allowed to access this file, he will get the regular problem, regular error message that tells you cannot access this content. Then let's stop talking and let me just demo what you actually can do. Let me. Okay, then this is my Power BI demo tenant. As you see, we added this sensitivity, actually, Anton's team added this sensitivity bar here. You can apply labels on reports, dashboards, datasets, and data flows. How you can do it? Go here, and then you have a drop-down list of all labels that you published in Security and Compliance Center. It's very important to understand Power BI is built on top, Power BI integration with information protection built on top MIP SDK. It means that you have to manage your labels in Security and Compliance Center. It means if you are existing AIP customer, you need to move to activate unified labeling on your Azure portal and move your labels to Security and Compliance Center. Power BI integration, like most of other integrations that I mentioned here, SharePoint, native labeling, requires you to publish your labels in Security and Compliance Center. Then Power BI takes these labels, and then you can apply labels on these artifacts. And what happens then, if we go inside it, then you can work in Power BI without any interruption. There is no any encryption done by these settings inside Power BI. But when I'm exporting this data to PowerPoint, or I will show also PDF, then the label is applied on this file, and because I also have a protection on this file, you will have this file encrypted with AIP. The internet here is a bit slow, sorry. And until we download this stuff, let me just continue the presentation and tell you what's. And how do we start? As I told, you need to verify you have published labels in Security and Compliance Center. You either start from the scratch if you're a new customer, or if you're an AP customer, you should activate unified labeling and publish or copy your policies. You enable information protection on Power BI admin settings. I will show a bit later how we can do it. And there is optional step. We also integrated with Microsoft Cloud App Security. Then Microsoft Cloud App Security can already manage actions and sessions connected to Power BI. But what we added now is that MCAS can identify the label on the artifact, and you can define different rules based on label on the Power BI artifact when you monitor the session of person that accesses Power BI. For example, you can tell that if you are not connecting from the AD joint machine or unhealthy machine or unmanaged machine, then you cannot access this Power BI artifact, Power BI report. But if you access it from your corporate machine, then you will be able to do it. Then let me go back to the portal. I hope it downloaded the file. Okay, then let me store the file on my desktop. Let me also start exporting the Excel, the PDF, because I would like also to show you the PDF. But this is the file that I downloaded now from Power BI. Power BI dashboard that was source of this report was confidential HR. And then this is what happens now. This file is labeled as confidential HR, and it's also encrypted. You can go here. We can see that I have only view rights on this file. It means I cannot reshare it, I cannot print it, I cannot do anything else with this file. And okay, it takes time with PDF. Let me show you how you can enable the integration. Then once you publish your labels in SEC, you should go to admin. Sorry, this is the PDF coming. You should go to admin portal, and then you get these settings, information protection. You can enable information protection integration here, and you can also define if everybody in your organization can use it, or specific people. For example, if you want to preview it and you don't want to expose the entire company to this, then you can go and select specific security group, try it on this group, and then expose it to everybody. Let me show you what happens with the PDF file. And you remember this PDF was created from confidential HR report, and it means that PDF is encrypted. And as you see, Adobe Reader tells me this document is protected with Microsoft Information Protection label confidential HR. Any questions? Okay, licensing. Do you want to take it?
So to use labels in Power BI, you need the Azure Information Protection license. For the labels, and of course, within Power BI itself, the user has to have Power BI Pro license in order to author and modify artifacts. So the question is, if you have a premium capacity in Power BI, so all the users, according to the license, you need license for all the users that consuming the content. And the user who actually creates the report has to have Power BI Pro and AIP license.
And just let me clarify this. Yeah. The easiest thing is to, everybody that has AIP P1 or P2 can see labels in Power BI and can apply labels in Power BI. Then for now, you need AIP P1 or P2 licenses. This is what's going to be during the preview. We might change this when we go GA, but this is for now.
Can I just add one note? So if like a user that has license apply the label, and now users that does not have a license download the file is going to be labeled. So the for protection to apply on files, license additional license is not required.
This is like any AIP. Apply labels requires license. Consume labels doesn't require license. And every time you export something from Power BI service applies the protection regardless of license of the user that downloads, because we want to protect this data. And you don't need license for downloading. Just one before you ask, just another thing, that you need to understand that everything is done in context of user. Then the user that can apply labels in Power BI, he sees exactly the same labels as he sees in Office. Then if you scope some labels to specific users in Office, you will have the same label shown in Power BI. Sure. Sorry? Okay, then you need, in order to, in Power BI, you need to be a Power BI admin to enable it?
Yeah, so...
That's what, who can enable it and who can use this?
So the enable UX that Dennis showed is for Power BI admin. So you need Power BI tenant admin permission to enable it. Once you set the security groups, everybody else can use it.
Then to enable its permissions on Power BI is Power BI admin or global admin. On AIP, you don't need anything because it's already there. To apply labels, you just need a license. Can you repeat? How? Again? Power BI embedded dashboards, how they can...
So it's on a roadmap. So Power BI embedded dashboard currently not supported, but it's on a roadmap to support.
I think we should finish, but if you have more questions, just come to talk to us offline.